It's wonderful to be back here and amazing to see all of these people. I have the good fortune of being asked to affirm Reverend Brigid's ministry today. So on the day before Easter, I found myself utterly exhausted by the deep ministry of the previous 3 days. I serve as pastor of an independent interdenominational church in Gloucester, Massachusetts. And unlike most weeks, I had not yet finished my Sunday sermon and was having a difficult time putting my thoughts together in a coherent way. Knowing about the act of vandalism that occurred here right before Easter, and all of the intensity that came with it, I suspected that my good friend Brigid, on the Saturday before Easter, might also be working on her Easter message and feeling similarly fatigued. So I reached out via text. I am so tired. And Brigid replied, to the bone. Then I wrote, sadly, I don't think this is going to be one of my better Easter sermons. What Brigid typed next is exactly what I needed to read in that moment. She wrote, I've been reminding myself of something that may help you too. We are not showing up to be brilliant sermonizers. We are showing up as the presence of love, inviting our beloved communities to walk into the mystery alongside us. We are showing up as the presence of love, inviting our beloved communities to walk into the mystery alongside us. Yes, Reverend Brigid Beckman, this is who you are. This is who you are. This is who God has been calling you to be from the very beginning of your life. This is who you are as daughter, as mother, as sister, as grandmother, as friend, as minister. You are the presence of love. From the first day Brigid and I met, when she walked into our former home in Glenville in May of 2014, so I could interview her for admission into One Spirit Interfaith Seminary, it has been my unique privilege and a deep blessing to have a front row seat to witness Brigid's unfolding, her evolution, and her growth as a minister. And I was blessed to see something on that very first visit that the church of our shared background could never see or admit, that this gifted woman Brigid, has an unmistakable call from Holy Source to ordained ministry, full of the joy that dances from the essence of her being Brigid's sincere, open-hearted desire to be of service. She was at last answering and responding to the beckoning of the divine that she had felt for years, if not decades. And this was an act of faith into uncharted waters, trusting that the holy spark within would illuminate her path forward into an uncharted future. As a faculty member and dean at One Spirit, it was my good fortune to both witness and accompany Brigid in her ministry studies and later teach with her. And with her bright, sociable nature, I could see her building the kind of warm, lasting relationships that are a hallmark of her whole life. You know, it's no surprise that there are people who met her in her 4 years on the North Shore are on Zoom this morning, right? Even I could see that, right? She was building and nurturing relationships. And that's what she's already doing here, right? She's strengthening the relationships you already have. Open to the Spirit, Brigid open to the Spirit during her ministry studies. Brigid consciously chose to do the hard work of looking at and releasing painful parts of her own history. And she did that, right? So that she can show up for others with honesty and inner freedom, and she then can invite others to do the same. Again and again, Brigid delighted and inspired her classmates and the faculty with her creativity and poet's turn of phrase. And how fortunate you are to be a beneficiary of all that goodness. So when she was invited by the Academy at Penguin Hall to become their campus minister, she brought that eagerness to serve and her formidable skills as teacher, mentor, and guide into what turned out to be kind of a crucible. There, like gold tested in fire, she became the beloved Miss B, showing up as love. Through the worst growing pains of a new school led by someone who had never even been in education. Navigating complex dynamics, very complex dynamics, Brigid was a safe port in the storm, a soft landing place for students, parents, and colleagues. And her departure has left such a hole that she was even asked to return via Zoom earlier this year to be a soothing presence in a time of crisis for the students there. And not long after she became your minister, when she learned that an old friend was seriously ill, she even opened her heart and her home to his adult children and their partners at a time when they needed support. Even with the energetic toll of starting a new position right before the holidays, during a pandemic? Like, who does that? Who says, you can come stay with us? I don't think it would have been me. And she also visited this friend in the hospital numerous times. Whew. Talk about showing up as the presence of love. Brigid treats her friends and this community the way she treats her much beloved family, with a generosity that does not count the cost. My husband David and I are often amazed at the workings of the Beckman clan, the tight bonds, seemingly endless social engagements, and genuine, heartfelt care and concern for one another. The innumerable ways they show up as love for each other. Unity Church of Albany is blessed with a new minister whose family gave her a foundation of love and faith and spirit and service and generosity that is at the core of who she is. Marty and Sal, you did a good job. When my Anam Kara, my soul friend, first walked through the doors of my heart and home 8 years ago, neither of us could have ever predicted how her journey of ministry would unfold. Because of the radiance of her presence, the authenticity of her call, and her extraordinary gifts that our world so desperately needs, there was never a question for me that a path would open for her. Could I have foreseen that this mostly Irish, a little bit German, Catholic lass would end up leading a church that David and I once attended? No way. What I do know is that God works for the good in all who choose to show up as the presence of love. And that is who your new minister is. You know this, right? That's why she's here. And walking together, this is who all of you will more fully become, the presence of love. So in everything she does and in everything you will do together, when times are easy and when they are difficult, right? A phrase from wedding vows that couples often say, right? When times are easy and when they are difficult, you will be blessed by Rev Brigid Beckman, whose ministry I joyously and wholeheartedly affirm. Amen, and so it is.